Welcome everyone to the long overdue weekly or previously daily IT news here live on this channel. And as usual, when so many days pass, obviously every day I thought I need to urgently do it, but then each day so busy life and other things to do. But yeah, still not satisfied and not sure how we continue. If you have ideas how to best present this daily, every second day, weekly, leave in the comments below, because boy do we have many things to cover. Starting with disclosure here, just out the other day, another macOS privacy protection bypass. If you were wondering how amazing and hashtag peak bugs stuff is on Apple's side and privacy, that day they disclosed another macOS privacy protection bypass. You may recall that they discovered another one the other year. Privacy Protection System, also known as TCC, Transparency, Consent and Control, was introduced in macOS Mojave, and one of those purposes is to protect certain files on your Mac. And yeah, as per usual, bypass because complexity, bugs and features. And apparently Apple has not yet responded. I think somewhere was written in response to yeah, they are still investigating this. So apparently, since reporting this in November, like 6 months later, Apple Product Security is still investigating this issue because there complexity and peak bugs. In similar news, Microsoft releases an emergency security update to fix two more of the many Windows bugs, Windows codecs, multimedia codecs, of course. Certainly you might have noticed or heard here on this channel, certainly very complex code there, processing multimedia, video and audio data, and not only at FFmpeg and GStreamer, but also commercial stuff. Microsoft and Family security update has been silently deployed to customers on Tuesday through Windows Store app, because yeah, this kind of bug certainly exploitable in all applications using multimedia codecs like your web browser and stuff. Microsoft published on Tuesday 2 out of band security updates. Also, yeah, 2020, your weekly, monthly out of band security updates, because security vulnerabilities tracked as CVE 2020 1425 and 1457. Two bugs only impact Windows 10 and Windows Server 2019 distributions. Security advisor Microsoft said they exploited with help of special crafted image files. 2020. I'm not sure, Windows or multimedia or video, whatever. You get the idea. In the same news, something is wrong with one of those data files and Outlook needs to close. 2020 is a state of software, and hashtag peak bugs not only at Apple's macOS but also Microsoft Windows and Outlook. The kind of very telling and informative error messages users are used to, and apparently widespread stuff. I think it occurred with some update, if I recall correctly. Run office repair feature something, whatever. Anyway, I think the usual thing, as far as I remember, the result of system updates, and then your Outlook certainly something is wrong with those files and Outlook needs to close. In similar Intel and Microsoft and Wintel news, Intel Insider claims it finally lost Apple because of Skylake quality assurance was abnormally bad, as in Intel quality assurance abnormally bad, with all the Spectrum meltdown. I'm not really sure what I should make out of this. I only included this here mostly because some major news sites also posted this already. However, I'm not entirely sure how credible it is. It is an allegedly ex-Intel principal engineer who I heard might also do some funny YouTube videos like ourselves. But honestly, I have it hard to believe that, well, there certainly were some issues, even from maybe, well, certainly 8086, previous video 30 or 40 years ago, but even 386, POP FF or whatever that was, we can research this another day. Pentium, FDiff, and recurring bugs and performance marginalities. But I have it hard to believe Intel is, with all our critique and respect, Intel is certainly not like totally incompetent, and after 40 years doing the most complex instruction set architecture, previous video on the main channel, they have certainly some test cases. I mean, you can't tell me that Intel is working with zero test cases, maybe not with formal verification like the Claire and other users, RISC-V open source people, but that their quality assurance after 40 years doing x86 is abnormally bad. Well, with all our fun and use here of Spectre, Meltdown and other things, these are certainly very edge cases, although researchers have warned or predicted or worked on this for maybe a decade. The side channel attacks, that the core features would be so broken, like core features as in x86 or maybe graphics, but yeah, the whole story is a little bit not really. They sure didn't make the performance advantages or advancements and energy efficiency advancements that they are delayed with their process. But yeah, with all this anyway, leave me in the comments below what you think. Of course, it always makes some good PR. Wouldn't surprise me that people tell some fairy tales just to have some exposure there on news sites. But yeah, that something, if it leaves Intel's house, this regular x86 instruction verification should pass, so that there is something that broken that Apple of all companies with all of their hashtag peak bugs would uncover this. Anyway, leave me in the comments below if you believe this or not. In similar news, briefly, hackers are exploiting a 5-alarm bug in networking equipment for companies that haven't patched their big IP products. It may already be too late. Recurring theme here, Seattle-based F5 networks had a root interruption on their July 4th weekend. Critical vulnerability turned the holiday into a race to implement a fix. And yeah, recurring theme here, stuff is broken, needs emergency patches. And yeah, this stuff, big IP product sold by F5 for big IP for ISPs or other enterprise grade stuff. Discovered and disclosed, cybersecurity firm Positive Technologies affected a series of so-called big IP devices act as load balancers within large enterprise networks, distributing traffic. And yeah, even the state of IT, right? Why do we do this? Recurring reminder, the way we architected software and hardware for the last 40 years or even longer is inherently broken, especially recurring shoutout, stuff done in C, off by a little, off by one, off by more, use after free, and similar bugs here in all products, even in big IP stuff. Speaking about this kind of stuff, journalists found hacked by new invisible technique, allegedly here, as per usual with the stuff, often hearsay and stuff, but all they had to do was visit one website, any website allegedly, and according to some diagrams here, this would be your journalist's phone, cell towers, the usual van parked in like FBI or FSB or whatever the case might be. Stingray, here's the usual stuff you read in the Snowden or other papers, and Internet ISP, a remote server website, and downloads here of Pegasus and intercepting your traffic. So there is a summary. So anyway, a recurring theme here that this is also why we don't want encryption backdoors, can't trust your government, because even if you trust your government in the US, or which maybe you won't, but then there is always some other government who has the same stuff, be it Russia, UK, Germany, Israel, or whatsoever. And trend in encryption, cybersecurity, Instead, forensic evidence gathered by Amnesty International and Reddy's phone shows that it was infected by network injection, a full automated method where an attacker intercepts a cellular signal when it makes a request to a website. In milliseconds, yeah, recurring theme, GSM broken, 3G, LTE, security vulnerabilities, insecure, inherently insecure, similar to Wi-Fi, security protocols with trivial mathematic thinkos, and then, yeah, this is why everything needs to be encrypted, cellular, on the cellular level, and yeah, not broken, recurring theme here. And also maybe design these protocols less complex and more open so that more security researchers validate it and give their 2 cents early on and stuff is not rolled out with all the security vulnerabilities in place, in case you were wondering if that is still a thing. In similar news, is it still a thing? IBM Security Bulletin. IBM Db2 registered trademark vulnerability to buffer overflow leading to a privilege escalation, CVE 2020-4363. Vulnerability caused by improper bounce checking. But yeah, do I make this shit up on my main and this more live channel? No, I don't. Recurring theme here, just basically load any CVE here. Buffer overflow, not only the Linux kernel, your favorite IBM Db2, cellular network, encryption, Apple, Microsoft, Outlook, you name it. Even for Linux, of all things, 2020 IBM Db2 for Linux, Unix and Windows, including Db2 Connect server, is vulnerable to buffer overflow caused by improper bounce checking, which could allow local attacker to execute arbitrary code on the system with root privileges, CVEs base score 8.4. And yeah, what people ask, what is the solution? In my opinion, the solution is we just can't, we can't use insecure by design languages like C, the glorified assembler frontend, or other such languages. Maybe Rust, as many previous video, unfortunately, infrastructure problems it brings to me and others like cargo, but yeah, unfortunately even new stuff is not perfect, but at least there are alternatives, Rust, Ada, or many other languages, to some degree even potentially maybe Java or C#, or of course all not perfect, but basically get off of C is probably the recurring summary here, but leave in the comments below what you think. In similar news, 3-year-old German, as usual on the fly, translates this. Major IT news sites here, 3-year, NotPetya, the ransomware Trojan who wasn't, and it was wreaking havoc here apparently in German companies who run Windows or something of that sort. And after 3 years and closer inspection, that was actually not a ransomware Trojan, but actually allegedly Russian state hacking stuff, from the recurring theme of can you trust your local government, of having encryption backdoors. And yeah, let's rush it through a little bit because after a week of no news shows we gathered quite some. So in similar news, Telnet vulnerability, not making this shit up, affecting Cisco products in June of 2020. Here, February 28th, published a blog regarding CVE 2020-10-188, which is a vulnerability in Telnet services. Telnet, yes, seriously, I wish it would be a joke, but it isn't. 2020, and Cisco is still rocking Telnet. For those who didn't know what this is, Telnet is the predecessor of Secure Shell, a thing invented in probably, I guesstimate, the 70s. It came with early versions of Unix and is basically allowing a remote login without encryption because it is so the 70s and 60s. Certainly something you would already not want to run since the 80s, but apparently some people still run this. Solution to this, people ask me, what is the solution? Well, certainly use Secure Shell. And anyway, one good news, if you wouldn't know yet, for those who are new to all this low-level stuff, the one and only use of Telnet is, by the way, connecting to ports and doing manual testing, like even connecting to mail servers and other database stuff and or other embedded products like serial lines and stuff where you have Telnet as in like remote debugging front end. Certainly only works so much if it's encrypted, then you certainly need some SSL socket wrapper thing in between there, but otherwise the only useful thing. By the way, a friend of mine told me, it's like, yeah, what the heck is going on with Cisco here? Why are they freaking still using Telnet? And friend of mine told me, yeah, you know why? Because for the encrypted stuff they charge extra. So yeah, 2020, not sure if that is true, because personally certainly not running any Cisco products, but leave me in the comments below if you know if that is true, if Telnet is the base standard, because secure share costs you extra, maybe with a software subscription stuff there. In similar news, so for some potential RCA remote code execution through heap overflow in awarrensmtp, here CVE 2020-1153. Heap overflow, of course, a recurring theme of the language issues, vulnerability in component of XG firewall firmware of 2020, Sophos firewall, SMTP filtering or whatever, remote code execution through heap overflow. Potentially allows a remote attacker to execute arbitrary code. Recurring theme here of Sophos would like to think Zeni of Positive Technologies, in case you were wondering. And another CVE 2020-2021 macOS authentication bypass in SAML authentication. This, for you who are new to this, is what was even the best summary? Why do I have it in here? I think it was something particularly laughable. I just forgot in the meantime what particularly it was. Maybe because it was severity 10 of critical and attack vector network. Actually, I don't quite recall the details. So you see after, right, maybe it was some, I think it was particularly laughable because it was some validate identity provider certificate option is disabled, improper verification of signatures. Right, this was some, this is probably why I included this, because in 2020 improper verification of signatures in macOS SAML authentication enables. So yeah, maybe this was pre-auth, not really sure, wouldn't read the summary. Probably a lesson learned, do this by daily, because after a week even I forget what the details were there. Workarounds and mitigations using a different authentication methods and disable SAML authentication. Anyway, you get the idea and the recurring theme here of CVE 2020-1136, and I'm not reading all of them, only the most laughable, because this is ASRock's RGB Driver recurring theme. Not the first time. If you, people usually don't believe me, they think, yeah, this funny guy doing 20 years Linux distribution, and what does he know? Yeah, exactly this kind of stuff. When I'm joking, joystick, mouse and your RGB driver, yes, freaking security vulnerabilities in your Windows driver, and which is probably also why you wouldn't trust random garbage RGB lightings. Like, yeah, seriously, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah, see, RGB, also recurring theme, this stuff shouldn't be in the kernel. The general rule of trusted code base stuff, and microkernel design talks here on this and the main channel, and why not only a joystick or mouse driver, but certainly definitely not an RGB driver should be in your kernel, and getting property restrict access from user space, as demonstrated by triggering a triple fault, meaning causing here excess of data that is not accessible, and so that is a fault, like segmentation fault, like oops or whatever in kernel. So basically accessing this improper can crash and triple fault your kernel here on the Windows side, obviously, because I'm certainly not running a binary only RGB driver in 2020, not in 1998, and certainly not in 2020. And recurring theme, this is recurring theme. Why I do this? I'm not fantasizing, I'm not making this shit up. This is reality. And when people don't want to believe me, just look at this. RGB drivers, antivirus, LTE, wireless encryption, and basically everything in between. macOS, Windows, even IBM Db2. And why we need more stable software. So the point of the whole series is the stuff can't be trusted neither from Microsoft nor Apple nor IBM, and we need to reinvent IT, software development and security. This is basically as if in 2020, in terms of architecture, we still would build wooden cabins or something, and anyway, or still have horse cabs instead of motorized vehicles, just to give here something normal users can relate to. In similar news, Fraunhofer, FKIE here in Germany, at least I guess in Germany, has done this white paper, Home Router Security Report 2020, and it's devastating. This is too long to read, but basically, do they have a summary? Maybe they had of all the 25 pages. Conclusion, their analysis has shown Linux is the most used OS. Also, yeah, recurring theme here, told you before, 90% of the devices run Linux, but Linux is not a, with a monolithic one address space, RGB lighting and everything from network routing in one address space. I said this before, not a, people always think Linux is the most top high security. No, it isn't. Just take on your look in your kernel changelog, and if you're then running something totally outdated like a 2.6 kernel from a decade ago, which is no longer maintained for many years, like, yeah, recurring theme here on this and the other channel, and leads to a high number of critical and high severity CVEs affecting those devices. And since Linux is the most used OS, exploit mitigation techniques could easily be enabled very easily. However, many still rarely use those, quite rarely, except the NX feature, which even in a non-execution of memory pages is not even necessarily always used in my experience on old and garbage ARM and MIPS devices. Anyway, so from everything analyzed, ASUS, Netgear, D-Link, Linksys, TP-Link, Excel, all not particularly outstanding. And one, they didn't even, maybe here some are worse than others, but apparently Huawei, they haven't even researched, as far as I remember, because they couldn't download the website freely from the website. I would say that that is a little bit lame argument. I would try to anyway access those, because a study without like making any effort to download or something is a little bit there. Other operating systems except the Linux kernel are Micro, COS, Threadix, and Unknown and ECOS, in case you were wondering. In similar news, OpenIPP report exposed printer devices on the internet. In July 2019, they participating in a funded project. The main goal was to create new services to provide security-related information about Internet of Things. And they found here their new scan of internet-connected printing protocols, IPP, showed that they found many printers exposed to the internet. So in case you need to print something, probably here there's some open printer next to you. Only challenge is how to collect the paper. Also, maybe you can ask them kindly to put it in an envelope and send it off to your destination. But yeah, IPv4 internet-wide scan that have enabled part of their efforts, and IPP get printer attribute request on TCP port 631, which is what I meant earlier, to connect with Telnet for debugging, scanning all 4 billion routable IPv4 addresses on the 5th of June, and part of their study here, and uncovered around 180,000 printers per day, obviously. So yeah, if you need a printer, 80,000, again, the only challenge, how to pick up your paper. But in any case, if you were wondering what's the state of IT security and connected Internet of Stuff devices, in more amazing news here, iFixit publishing the news. Fixers know what repairable means. Also here, this on the other channel where we regularly repair stuff, and shout out not as friendly repairable Mac and other stuff. And now there's a standard for that. Their European standard EN 45554 was published official document. So in case you're wondering, yes, there is now an official European standard for examining and rating general methods of assessments of the ability to repair and reuse, upgrade energy-related products. In plain English, a standard for measuring how easy it is to repair stuff. It's also a huge milestone for the fight for fair repair, which probably you might have gathered we are a huge fan of. In other news, in case you were wondering if that is still a thing, Micro 4 announces a new chapter of modernizing and innovation for COBOL of mainframe systems. Yes, 2020 there still is COBOL and mainframe system innovation. Visual COBOL 6.0 Enterprise Suite 6 offers flexible and modernization of tools to build the next generation of core business systems. Yay, next generation business systems based on Visual COBOL. Probably can't recommend this. If you want something maintainable and stuff, then probably use something else, and maybe, I don't know, maybe even Rust or something formally verifiable and with some security promises, and probably wouldn't base my business, let alone my enterprise core business, on Visual COBOL. But if you want it, there it is. In similar Chinese banning and censorship news, TikTok, WeChat and Weibo, all those Chinese apps now banned in India, and I heard maybe coming to the US too. So in case you were wondering, can only China ban stuff? No. Also, in case you're wondering, if you didn't know, TikTok is a Chinese application. Not that it would matter too much for all the other applications being often US applications. So TikTok, exceptional Chinese application, and other countries can ban stuff and censor stuff too. There's always it's not a one-way street. China censoring their stuff, and India and US and other countries, Turkey and Russia and stuff too. And I heard maybe TikTok might be banned in some days in the US, but in general can't approve much of censorship. But yeah, there's always two sides of this, and if China is censoring some stuff in Hong Kong, and then might happen also elsewhere, which is probably why I usually call this out and don't support this anywhere. In similar news, in case you're wondering, Mixer, this vastly hyped streaming stuff of Microsoft that even signed up some big exclusive streamers, is no more. Now Facebook gaming, in case you were wondering, this kind of TikTok kind of news. So much to the latest and greatest, and Microsoft acquiring this and burning venture capital faster than otherwise humanly possible. And in similar news of Chinese and Hong Kong and stuff, the Golden Text department of Emergence of GoldenSpy malware. So Trustware Spider Lab threat hunting experts investigate a malware campaign targeting corporations operating in China. And so yeah, that is the thing, right? Not only US, so much to the US and other European, UK and so on governments often asking for backdoors, which I always regularly remind, yeah. Some people want a backdoor and other people want a backdoor too. So China certainly not an exception. And apparently here reports identified a new threat of providing specific use of special Golden Text department GoldenSpy malware. Apparently some big corporations are forced to use this Golden Text department stuff, and apparently it's not only a text compliance software but also a spy malware there. And registration required. Thank you very much for that. Anyway, so much to the summary of that, in case you were wondering how the Chinese government hacks some big enterprises. In similar news, if you're wondering, can the stock market be run without issue in Germany? In case you're wondering, no, of course not. Recurring theme here, software problem, the Xetra trade here in the German stock exchange software bug again recurrently caused longer downtown. It's like 2020 can't even run. You would be wondering with mainframes and COBOL and probably certainly Visual COBOL and IBM Db2 of some fine bugs, and what even we can look this up. That was something of probably where was the IBM here of buffer overflow and other fine bugs and features. Yeah, if you base your stuff on buggy stuff, hashtag peak bugs, recurring theme here, maybe Windows, maybe IBM Db2, I don't know, but certainly something of that sort in between. And yeah, this is real life, right? Not making this up. Stock exchanges, big corporations, Chinese GoldenSpy or whatever the name of that, we can certainly GoldenSpy malware, and yeah, then stuff just doesn't run. Previous live streams, oil refineries, car manufacturers shut down, be it in Japan and Germany and stuff. Yeah, we rely our whole industry and infrastructure on buggy, on decades of buggy and not well engineered infrastructure, and that is a consequence. Speaking of consequence, thousands of contracts highlight quite ties between big tech and US military, in case you were wondering, like Amazon and Google and stuff. Report offers a new window into the relationship between tech corporations and the US government, as well as an important detail about why such contracts are often difficult to find. And yeah, more details here in case you want to read this. Over the past 2 years, thousands of tech companies' employees have taken stand. They don't want their labor and technical expertise to be used in projects with military law enforcement agencies. And they compiled a study and found many ties there. From Google's China project Dragonfly to many others, US military, Department of Defense, you name it. Many more details to find there, in case you're wondering what kind of companies you trust there in terms of Google and Amazon and stuff. And yeah, speaking about trust and this ties of military mysteries, explosion again, like second time, fire damage, Iranian nuclear enrichment facility. It's already at least the second time. We had this probably last year, so many security vulnerabilities and insecurities and state hacking. It's hard to keep track, but Iran released a photograph showing evidence of what appears to be a major explosion. Again, recurring theme here, at least the second. As far as I remember, early evidence suggests it was most likely an act of sabotage. I think the last time they already hacked, allegedly, foreign secret services there. The enrichment facility is certainly running Windows XP of something that sort there, of IT automation. Fire rippled through the building, and yeah, why do I include this? Not only ties not only is it breaking news, and also just fitting here in the news of thousands of contracts, ties between big tech and US military, and in case you were wondering, crypto backdoors, security vulnerabilities, and Snowden papers, you name it, recurring theme here, and the state of security. And if you're wondering, your local state services asking for, yeah, security vulnerabilities are not enough, asking for crypto backdoors because security vulnerabilities and everything are not yet enough, need more crypto backdoors, which, given, again, recurring theme here, our reliance on secure communication, not only for your online banking, for your data transfer, and stock exchange, because again, the same stuff like consumer tech is the same crypto stuff run like OpenSSL, LibreSSL, Botan, and many gcrypt, GNU-crypt and whatnot, all the same tech, be it Apple, Microsoft, Linux, and whether it's your local hospital, your mission critical enterprise corporation, or your local defense department, or other nuclear enrichment facilities, it's still the same tech, and if the government hacks in one thing, means the other government can hack in your local stuff. Certainly not only printers, but more significant facilities. I hope you learned something. If you have any ideas how to present this better, in recent times a little bit out of time, but certainly this long live streams, I still have the feeling the long live streams not the best, especially if I need to rush through to keep it under 1 hour, which again was 40 minutes. Anyway, I hope you learned something. If you have a better concept, leave in the comments below. I still feel like maybe shortly daily would be better, just out of time. But anyway, I think this is very urgent, like with our state of society, and certainly now with the global health situation and more people working remote from home, and certainly even before, but now even more so, video conferencing. We need secure systems without crypto backdoors and heap security vulnerabilities, heap overflows or stack overflows, and array off by a little, and all this C programming stuff. And yeah, given our state of connectivity in each home, in each school, in each government, I feel the urge of we need to spread more awareness of the many bugs, and also should not accept this anymore. Like, keep companies more. People always ask me, what should we do? Keep companies more accountable, and certainly vote with your wallet. And like, some stuff is maybe also not the best idea, like Apple's yearly operating system updates. Like, previously we didn't have this, and not only is my impression those releases at Apple and Microsoft are more buggy, but maybe instead of yearly major releases, just keep them maintained more longer, and certainly with more security, more secure languages like Rust and not C. But yeah, in any case, keep these companies more accountable. Not only, but look at this colorful features if at the end it's full with peak bugs and crashes and has security vulnerabilities, like recurring theme here, privacy protection bypass, and other such things. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope you learned something, maybe help to spread the word. Share, like, and subscribe. Leave in the comments below what you think, and certainly in terms of IT security, we urgently need to do something similar to the environment Fridays for Future, maybe every day, but maybe IT security for, I don't know, Mondays or so, because in my opinion, it's honestly even feeling a little bit shameful to be in this profession given the state of brokenness. And anyway, yeah, looking forward to your comments, and see you next time.